Molimo, ustanite.
International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia's known station. Lorenz du Tribunal.
Međunarodni krivični sud za bivšu Jugoslaviju otvara zasedanje.
Please be seated.
Volite sesti.
Good morning to...
Predsjedavajući, dobro jutro svima.
I received the BCS version in the English channel, but I hope it will be changed. Good morning to everybody in the courtroom and to those who are following these procedures. Would the registrar please call the case?
Your Honor, this is case number ITO 588/2/R77.2, contempt case of Dragomir Pećanac. Thank you.
Thank you. Now could I have the appearances? First, the defense.
Very good morning, Your Honor, and everybody in the courtroom. This is Jens Diekmann from Germany as duty counsel for the accused. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I note for the record that Mr. Pećanac is present in the courtroom as well. Although the prosecution is not party of these proceedings, I would like to ask you for your appearance.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President. Peter McCloskey, Kweku Vanderpuye, and Anako Bulldog for the prosecution.
Thank you. Mr. Pećanac, during the initial appearance on the 10th of October of this year, you did not enter a plea on the matter with which you have been charged in the order in lieu of indictment. Instead, you chose to defer your plea as provided for by the rules. It is for this purpose that the Chamber has scheduled today's hearing. The order in lieu of indictment stated that you are being prosecuted for contempt of the grounds that, having been informed on the 2nd of September 2011 of the contents of a subpoena a testificandum dated 31st of August 2011, and of your obligation to appear before the Chamber, you obstructed all attempts by the VWS, that is the Victims and Witnesses section of the Tribunal, to implement the decision of safe conduct and make arrangements for your travel to The Hague, thereby failing to appear before the Chamber as ordered, or to show good cause why you could not comply with the subpoena, and therefore knowingly and willfully interfering with the administration of justice by refusing to comply with the subpoena. I should add that at your initial appearance on the 10th of October, you indicated that you did not then consider that you were in a position to testify in the case of prosecutor versus Zdravko Tolimir. At a hearing in the Tolimir case, on the same day, you were again asked to testify, but you were not willing to do so. You said that you would make your decision to testify after you had had certain medical examinations and after consulting attorney Mr. Tomislav Wisniewicz. Mr. Pećanac, you will recall that at the initial appearance you waived your right to have the indictment read to you, or I should say the order in lieu of indictment read to you. Now, Mr. Pećanac, please rise.
Your Honor.
Mr. Pećanac, sit down, please, again.
Your Honor,
Mr. Diekmann has the floor.
Your Honor, with your leave, I will be in a position to make a declaration regarding the plea today, but before this, I kindly request to go in closed session because on behalf of the accused, I would like to make some oral submissions on some issues that demand, due to my humble opinion, a closed session.
I think you are referring to a private session.
I'm sorry, private session. Thank you.
We are turning into private session.
We're back in open session. Thank you.
Mr. Dickmann.
With regard to the question of Your Honor regarding the plea and the reading of the indictment, I can declare on behalf of the accused that he still waives his right to get the indictment read in fully, and secondly, that he enters the plea of not guilty.
Thank you very much. First, I would like to ask the prosecution if they have to say anything in this regard, what we have heard in private session.
Just briefly, I see nothing wrong with any of the fairness of the proceedings. These medical matters are, I think, I thought you'd said last time, are in the hands of the UN detention unit, and sometimes OLAD makes mistakes and doesn't hand everything out. It happens to all of us, but I don't see any other real issues here.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Dickmann, I note and can confirm that we received yesterday at around 7 o'clock in the evening a courtesy copy of your submission, which will be filed today, I assume. I have read it carefully, and you repeated the main arguments in private session. I hereby order the registry to provide the chamber with Rule 33B submission by tomorrow, end of business. Regarding the points you have raised again, this is the medical examination and the circumstances you raised and you put on the record, the isolation in the detention unit, and the question why the dissenting opinion was not handed out to the accused together with the other information and not to you. The chamber was informed about this omission by the registry yesterday or the day before yesterday by an email. I would just like to put that on the record too. And the chamber will take the necessary steps with regard to these concerns you have raised on behalf of your client. I think and I hope that this satisfies duty counsel and the accused in this proceedings, and we can carry on. Mr. Dickmann.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. It satisfies indeed. Thank you very much.
To follow the normal procedure, although we have heard how Mr. Pećanac would plead, I would like to ask you, Mr. Pećanac, to rise. Mr. Pećanac, you are charged with contempt of court under Rule 77 of the Tribunal's Rules of Procedure and Evidence. How do you plead?
I'm not guilty, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask the registrar to record your plea of not guilty. Please be seated, Mr. Pećanac.
Hvala, gospodine sudija.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Pećanac, given the plea of not guilty, this means that there will be a trial, which should be a short hearing of no more than 1 or 2 days, following which the chamber will issue its judgment. At the trial, you will be entitled to call witnesses and you may choose to testify yourself. This is all for you to discuss with your counsel, whoever that is. You should be aware, however, that in light of the fact that you are charged as a result of failing to appear to testify in the Tolimir proceedings, following a subpoena issued by the Tolimir chamber for you to do so, it is the Tolimir chamber that is conducting the trial proceedings in relation to this contempt matter. Pursuant to Rule 77D(2) of the Tribunal's Rules of Procedure and Evidence, the Tolimir chamber has decided to prosecute the charge of contempt set out in the order in lieu of indictment itself. I would therefore like to ask you, through your counsel, how long you consider you will need to prepare for this trial. Mr. Diekmann.
Your Honor, well, in fact, it's difficult for me to respond to this question because, as you are aware, the assignment proceeding of Mr. Tomislav Vižnić is still in process. And so in the moment we are not in a position to give any indication, but I'm quite sure that in the case that Mr. Vižnić will be assigned, he will respond to chamber as soon as possible.
Thank you very much. A date for the hearing will be scheduled in due course. Meanwhile, you will remain in custody at the United Nations Detention Unit, the UNDU, and your counsel can inform you of any further information governing your detention. I should like to deal with some more immediate issues related to procedure. Rule 77E provides that the rules of procedure and evidence in parts 4 to 8 shall apply mutatis mutandis to proceedings under Rule 77, and the time limit for disclosure pursuant to Rule 66A(1) shall not exceed 10 days. Rule 66A(1) provides for the disclosure of copies of the supporting material which accompanied the indictment when confirmation was sought, as well as all prior statements obtained by the prosecutor from the accused. In this instance of contempt, there is strictly no indictment, but an order in lieu of indictment, and the chamber is prosecuting the contempt itself. In these circumstances, applying Rule 66A(1) mutatis mutandis to these contempt proceedings, and subject to the time limit set forth under Rule 77E, I hereby order that the registry shall provide the defense with the documents referred to in the order in lieu of indictment in a language that the accused understands within 10 days of this hearing. These documents are the subpoena ad testificandum for Dragomir Pećanac, filed confidentially on 31st of August 2011. Further, the order of the government of Serbia concerning a subpoena, also filed confidentially on the 31st of August 2011. Third, the prosecution's application for an order in lieu of indictment, a warrant for arrest, and order for surrender of Dragomir Pećanac, filed confidentially on 15th of September 2011, which includes as its appendices the Memorandum of Service of the subpoena for Mr. Pećanac, dated 9 September 2011, and an internal memorandum prepared by the Victims and Witnesses section of this tribunal on the 13th of September 2011 regarding its contact with Mr. Pećanac. I further order that the registry shall inform the chamber when it has completed the disclosure of these documents to the accused. Now, Mr. McCloskey, does the prosecution have any submissions to make regarding the disclosure to the accused?
No, Mr. President. If we can be of any help, we, of course, will be.
Thank you. Then, pursuant to Rule 77E, in conjunction with Rules 72A, the defense may file preliminary motions no later than 10 days after the disclosure of these documents. Then I would first like to ask the prosecution whether there is any matter you would like to raise at this moment in this proceeding. Mr. McCloskey.
No, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Pećanac or Mr. Diekmann, do you have any other matters which you wish to raise at this point in time? You may be seated, Mr. Pećanac.
Thank you very much, Your Honors. No further remarks in the moment. Thank you very much.
This now concludes the initial appearance. The proceedings are adjourned until a further date to be scheduled with the registry. This will be communicated to the parties in due course. We adjourn.
All rise, veuillez vous lever.